So what if I told you you could increase your brand awareness while decreasing your marketing budget and spending only a couple hours or less a week doing it? Yeah, that's the response I'm looking for. The obvious answer is yes, right? No brainer. So we all know in the back of our mind what the answer is, I think. Is this going in and out?
Yeah, just a little bit.
So we all know what the answer is. The answer is social media. Social media is the lifeline. And we're just scared. We're scared of the unknown. We're just scared to start our social media presence. And there's reasons why. If we don't know the importance or the value, well, we're going to use all those internal fears and not really go after it. So I get it. I've been there before. I understand the struggle. It's a Kim Kardashian world. Why would we be involved in it? It's social media. The key is understanding the value and the importance. That's what we're going to talk about today. So I get it. Been a fear of social media for a while, and now when I took over the business 6, 7, 8 years ago, I was tasked with the marketing and I had to figure it out. So right now, I apologize. Right now, we're starting that first step. You guys, I remember in our business, 15 years ago, I was born in our business, so it's been my whole life, but every time I learned something new, I remember that challenge being like, oh my gosh, like just the hearth, just venting, single wall, double wall, class A, that was just overwhelming. Well, you have to take that first step into that in order to understand it. And you look back and all your successes, a lot of you probably have, and it all starts with that first step. Social media needs that first step, whether you're starting your campaign or your social media presence, or whether it's went inept because you don't see the value in it. We got to get that started back up, and that's what we're going to do here today. So I live by this quote a lot. It's posted in my bathroom, bedroom, office, and it's because it always starts with that first step, and that's probably the hardest part of what we're doing here. The course will help you address three things that are absolutely vital. I'll repeat them over and over again. The fear, the shift that you have to be aware of, and then a strategy. You have to put a strategy in place. So we'll talk about the fear, the shift, and the strategy that's going on. First of all, the fear. To address and conquer the fears that prevent us from making our social media presence a priority. We all know the fears. They're the fears that stop us from that first step all the time. We'll address those, we'll get over those fears, we'll dismiss them, and we'll move on to the value and the importance of social media. The shift, the most important part of what we're going to talk about today is the shift. And I'm going to say it a lot. The shift is absolutely vital to your understanding of why social media, you know the value, we'll go over the value, you guys all know the value, but why it's so important is now more than ever, and we'll talk about that. So the shift is to be aware of the consumer shopping habit, that consumer shopping habits are changing fast, and social media is the lifeline. And then once we know why it's so important, we need to execute a plan or a strategy, and we'll do that. We'll give you a strategy with a little bit of a plan of attack when you go home. So to introduce a simple strategy to get you started with social media for your small business. So I hope to address the fears that we all are internalizing and deal with, and we might not even know. We'll expose those, we'll talk about them, we'll move on from them, we'll discuss the value, get to the importance of the shift in consumer buying habits, because it's happening. Tim spoke about it a little bit earlier, but it's happening now faster than it's ever happened. And the strategy, just a simple strategy that we found successful. I'm not saying you will find it perfectly successful, but man, it's just a simple way to start, and then you can go and do what you want with your own social media account, because there's such a big world out there, but you have to start small, okay? So that's what the course will review: the fear, the shift, and the strategy. This is Tim's line. There's a big problem in our industry, and it's a paralyzing fear to start or continue our social media presence. I think it's a big problem. I think our industry, among a million other industries, are a little bit behind on the value of social media. And we need to understand that it's a problem. And we have to get mad about it, and we have to take that first step, because we're going to miss the boat. We are going to miss the boat if we don't realize that it's a problem that we have to address. So when I'm thinking about social media and how I bring it to the physical, how I explain it, I kind of go back to maybe, I don't know, is it 10 years ago maybe, when we were transitioning from flip phones to smartphones. I really equate social media and the transition kind of the same way. The flip phone was great. Small, compact, fits in your pocket, flip it open, text from it. You could do all sorts of things from it. It's amazing. But when the smartphone was introduced, it didn't mean that the flip phone wasn't good anymore. It still had the same value, just like our advertising does now. But the game has changed. Smartphones changed that game. And social media is changing that game too. I realize we're not all in boardrooms and we're not all in conference calls, but here's a little blurb that kind of puts it into perspective. At this point, not having an active social media presence is like pulling out a flip phone at a business meeting and not understanding why Brad keeps getting all the accounts. I mean, Brad's getting all the accounts because he can do everything faster, quicker, before the consumer is even realizing it. There's so many advantages. Doesn't mean the flip phone's bad. It doesn't mean our marketing practices are bad. Change is hard. I have to tell you guys to change. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, but you only improve by changing. And we need to get a little bit better at our social media presence as an industry. There's all these fears, danger, social media ahead. We don't know what we don't know. It's scary. I understand that. It's unknown. I know there's all these fears, and we're going to go over them in just a minute. But you guys, once you get through this, I want you just to take a step back, and I want you to think, okay, what can I get out of that? I'm not telling you every single part of this is perfect and for you, but there is 3 or 4 things in here that you can take back and apply for sure. And maybe there's a lot more. So let's just go over the obvious right now. We don't know what we don't know. So we're going to go over the value, the importance, and then that strategy. The value of social media. So there is a ton of value in social media. And when you Google value of social media, there's 30 things, 40 things, 50 things. There's tons of value in social media. But what is the value at its simplest form? It really kind of breaks down into 4 things. And I'm going to go through those things real quick. Social media is free. Social media is free. Okay? So just an example. I pulled out my phone before I started doing this, and I looked at my latest post on Facebook for Falcos. And for free, we had 1,300 people see the post. We do that every day. In the last 28 days, we've had 30,000 people that we've reached. What radio ad tells you that? What TV ad tells you that? There's not a lot, and that's for free. Now, you can spend money with social media, and we'll get there, but you guys, it's your time, and it's really about building the relationships with your consumers. You want to be the guide for the consumer, and social media is where they're at. You want to be there, showing them that you're a guide for any solution in their marketplace. Yes, social media involves spending time to build relationships, but it doesn't cost money, and it's that simple. The number one value in social media is that it's free, still. You don't know what's going to happen, but right now, completely free and completely worth your time. Brand exposure. So there's 2 parts to this. You can get your brand out there and out there in this community where everybody's at when they're not at your store, and you can build on that brand, you control that brand. Your website is a part of your brand, and it's important, and there's a lot to simplifying and making your website worth it. But your social media is where people do research. Maybe we all haven't, but we've all had the girlfriend or boyfriend that does the Facebook stalking after you break up or before or whatever. Well, that's what your consumers do to you. They stalk you. They want to know your reputation. They want to know your brand, and where they're going to find it is there. And you have 100% control of it on social media, okay? So you can grow your brand, control your brand, and then this is the other part that you have to think about. You can manage your reputation on social media. You want to give them the place to leave that negative review that you can control, because Yelp and Google, you cannot as well. They don't even know that you responded to their Google review when they've left a negative review. On Facebook, you can't delete it, unfortunately, but you can communicate with that customer where it puts notifications back to them, and you can rectify it on a public level. And I'll tell you what, our 1-stars have been our best advertisement because we're not afraid of it. We do everything that we can. We write out on a public forum what we've done. We tell the customer their experience is their experience, and we look for a resolution. Your negative stars don't have to always be negative. And on Facebook, we have 165, probably 5 to 10 of them are negative. There's one in there that I'll never forget because it's our best advertisement as a review. So brand exposure, your online reputation can be managed through social media. Target marketing, this is what I get really fired up about. I'm a numbers guy and analytics and understanding. And so, 8 years ago when I was tasked with this, it was simple, like marketing, here's our budget, I want to decrease it. Okay, I want to increase our brand. How do you do that? Well, you can advertise radio and TV, but I would just say, hey, Eric was our guy and is my dad's guy. I need to broadcast a sale and I need to spend this amount of dollars and tell me how many impressions I'm going to get and let's put it together and go for it. That left me empty. Like, what? How do you even know if that worked? You don't. And I mean, maybe you do, but you really don't. Targeted marketing through Facebook or different social media channels, you guys, is absolutely amazing. For a minimal amount of expense, the learning you can do, the investment you can do into your company is outstanding. So I'll give you an example. You run a barbecue ad, and you decide to just keep it simple and make the phrasing different than anything you've ever done, and you get this response that's pretty good on a free level. And you wanna boost it because you're like, okay, this actually seemed like it resonated with people. And you find out that post got to 2,000 people for $20. Then you find out everything that you need to know about those people. The next time go around, you change it a little bit, and you either do better or worse. And then the next time, you either do better or worse, always improving. You know if your advertisements were successful or not successful. And that's a pretty amazing tool to be able to utilize. There's other things you should do, like tracking in the store and different things like that, to see how well it works. But the targeted marketing analytics, I mean, Facebook asks you to fill out detailed profile including likes, hobbies, and interest. This is what business advertise directly to. No radio ad goes after the fireplace person. But with Facebook, you can go after the fireplace person, the wood stove person, the manufactured home person. You can specifically advertise to those people for a fraction of the cost at sending it out in a general form. And then the internet's future is social. Big companies are starting to invest millions in social media advertising because it's where everyone is and where everyone will continue to be. And it's only going to grow. You guys hear digital marketing thrown out probably quite a bit, and we're probably still trying to figure out exactly what it is. Digital marketing works this way, okay? So I'm on my phone. I needed to buy a lawnmower this last summer. I'm looking for a lawnmower on my phone as I'm watching TV, right? Well, then I go to Facebook, because I do that, and scroll through it, and all of a sudden an advertisement for a lawnmower shows up. I'm like, well, that's a sweet lawnmower. It's like speaking to me. And then you scroll down a little bit more, and there's another one. It's like, what the heck? Tim was talking to me about a backpack, same thing. Did some research on a backpack. All of a sudden, boom, in my face. And you know what? I'll probably buy one of those backpacks. They're giving me solutions. The way that they market to you is because they know me. And it works. So that's where the power is. The internet's future is social. All right, so let's address a few of the fears here. I'm going to go through the fears kind of quickly because we all know them. Doesn't mean they're not important, but we have to address them because we have an external problem of wanting to reduce our marketing costs and increase our brand awareness. That's what every company wants to do. But we don't really actually discuss what is truly holding us back, the internal problems. It's not that we don't know it's important. We do, I think, but we don't know why, and we don't know really what to get over. So let's just address that real quick here. The 5 fears that hold us back, and we all know them. So the fear you do not have enough time. This is every single one of you. This is every single one of your employees. This is your wife. This is your husband. This is your family. This is your children. This is everybody's perspective. Not one of us ever has enough time. In our lives, the only way we make enough time is by creating a priority list. The things that we deem worthy are the things we think are valuable or important. So, yeah, we fear we don't have enough time because we don't, again, realize how important or valuable it is. Once we do, we might bump it up in the priority list and make it a little bit more valuable. The fear to change. This one could be explained in like so many different ways. I'm a changer. In my business, I'm the one changing everything and always accused of changing. And I think without improving, or you can't really improve without changing. So I run towards change, but I also run a business that's been in the same location for 90 years. I literally manage people that changed my diaper. So I have a group of people that don't want to change, and that's okay. I'm not telling them they're doing anything wrong. We just have to figure out where the value is. We can get there if you guys understand what the value and the importance is. Change is hard, change is scary, and change doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. I want to emphasize that. And I've had a hard time in the 15 years I've been with Falco's. I feel like every time I'm trying to change something, I'm telling my dad he did something wrong or the people that were there. No, just times are changing and we can't be afraid to change. And truthfully, if we really dig down, the reason we don't change is because it's hard. It is. But it doesn't mean it's not right, because it is right. The fear we will waste your time. I mean, again, it just comes down to importance and priority. It's not a waste of time as long as you guys understand the shift and the strategy that goes along with it. So we've addressed the fears right now. We'll talk about the shift, which is the important part, and you'll determine it's not a waste of time. The fear you will fail is a huge one. I mean, the fear, it's a public forum. Social media is public. So like getting up and talking, that's what you're doing on social media. And it never goes away. So there's a fear of failing in doing that. A younger generation can do it so much better than us. That's hard. We can go viral by making a mistake. I hear that all the time. Your chances of going viral, and there's people that try to go viral every day, I mind you, it's a lottery. Like, you're not just going to go viral because you make a mistake. People make mistakes on there all the time, and you can delete it. But you won't. The fears of going viral or failing or having a younger generation judge us, I get, but they're just excuses as far as I'm concerned. Once we know the importance and the value, that's the fear of your fail will kind of wipe away. And then the fifth and final one is the fear that you're too late. And I kind of hesitate keeping this one on there. I feel like it's pretty close to being too late. I don't think we're quite there yet, but you guys, social media changes like every 6 to 9 months, if maybe sooner. And we can use terminology like algorithms and all these different things. This is the more time you're away, the more you got to learn, the more time it's going to take. And getting on it now, just even an hour a week, will just change your life in how you understand it. But if you don't start here soon, you guys, there is going to come a time when you can never catch up. And I'm here to kind of issue that warning in a nice way. For the last 3 years, I've answered that question very nicely. But this year, I'm answering a little bit differently. Like, we need to kind of be scared and realize the power of social media. So with it not being too late, we have to start this. And I remember kind of going into my dad and saying, okay, I'm responsible for marketing. I want to do social media. And he like laughed. And his question is, well, if you're going to spend time on that, tell me how it's going to sell more fireplaces. So that's the question I got. How is social media going to help us sell more fireplaces? Does anybody have any answers for that?
Awareness.
You were in my class. Anybody else?
Well, it's simple. Everybody's using Google to search with. So if they're interested in fireplaces or wood stoves, they're going to hit it and boom, your store comes up.
True. And to speak to that, every link you post on your social media platform goes out on Google. Okay? So there's another way to find you. So I had a hard time answering this question and still have a hard time answering the question. And to be honest, it's not the right question. I mean, so the question came to me way later. So 6 years ago, 8 years ago when I started this, I didn't realize this. I didn't know how to answer this question. I still knew it was important. I still did it every day. But I didn't really know until I read a book that was The Skeptical Lumberman by by Bradley Hartman. It's a guide to social media. And he breaks down an amazing amount of things. But he changes the question. And it's more about awareness. And this is the question that we need to ask. Can social media help us be perceived as the trusted expert with solutions for any project in our marketplace? Heck yes. Like, heck yes. And if your competition's not doing it, you can control that market. So let's go to a few things here. Trusted. So how can my business, your business, advertise or market a trusted business? You don't put on there 90 years in business, most trusted. That's what we've done forever. But that's really not the important part. The trusted part comes from testimonials with customers, reviews from customers, final product pictures, not with the product, with the customer high-fiving the installers. Successes of your business, trusted sales, people writing that, bios on your people. Tell a story about your company. Tell a story about a customer's experience with your company. You can do that every day, all day long, and maybe 5 people will see it when you first start out. But that's 5 people that didn't see it before, and it only builds on that. Expert. We're all the experts in our industry. But you guys, like Tim says, we lose it to confusion. We lose it to all these other things. If we're not on social media, they don't know we're the expert. We'll talk about this a little bit more, but social media gives you an avenue to share that you're the expert. And our industry is so close to the vest on the information that we have that we don't share it. Come on. If you're the best chimney sweep in town, show them. Because guess what? You might teach them how to sweep their own chimney, but they're going to tell their 10 friends that can't sweep a chimney how to sweep it based on your video and where to go. Where does everybody go for instructions?
YouTube.
Boom. YouTube. Get on YouTube. Be your town's expert in whatever you do on YouTube and watch your life change. And then with any solution, so you guys, we don't sell stoves. Like, I hate to tell you that. We don't sell barbecues. We don't sell whatever. I don't care what you sell. You sell solutions. You got to think about it like that. The customer comes in your store with a problem, and you got to figure out what that problem is by asking questions, interviewing. Don't let that customer be asking you questions. Ask questions, interview them. Now, through social media, if you're constantly solving people's problems, internal problems and external, all of a sudden, that consumer's in your door. And that consumer's not even shopping around. That consumer's buying from you, unless you mess it up. So let's just reiterate this. The question asked is, can social media help us be perceived as the trusted experts with solution for any project in our market? And the answer is emphatically yes. So this is the big shift, you guys, right here. And it's not going to make any sense at first. There is a shift in consumer buying going on right now, from high-touch activities to low-touch content. I'm going to repeat that one more time. There is a shift in consumer buying going on right now, from high-touch activities to low-touch content. What does that mean? High-touch activities, which require more face-to-face interaction, are less desirable. Just the facts. I think about myself. I think about things that I want to do. And like buying a lawnmower, buying a vehicle. I just bought a vehicle for my wife this last year. And I just don't want to deal with a salesperson. I just don't. It's less desirable to look online. And we found a friend who owns a car place, and we went through him, and it was very easy. And maybe I got the best deal, or maybe I didn't. But I'm not a high activity type person. And our shopping habits are not wanting to be sold. Our shopping habits are we want to make the decision. Low touch content can be accessed when buyers are initiating the buying process online, alone, and on their own timeline, which is so much more desirable. And that's pretty much everybody. We are all shopping at night. We're all online, on social media, not even aware that we're shopping, and being hit up with ads constantly. And that's the key. That's the key right there, is being there before the person even knows that you're the solution that they're looking for. The consumer now starts their shopping experience alone and when they want. You can be the most trusted expert with the best solutions, but they will never know if you're not there. So think about that. Don't start social media. Don't. Okay? And 5 years from now, you'll look at your partner, your coworkers, and you'll go, God, that door is just not turning as much. That phone is not ringing as much. And you're going to wonder why. And I'm going to tell you, the reason why is because they don't know you're there. Before they've made the decision to buy a fireplace, they've probably already made the decision on who they're buying it from because of social media. And if you're not there, you guys, I'm telling you, Falco's has been in the same location for 90 years, and I believe we are not out of the realm of being forgotten. You don't want to be forgotten. Be where everybody's at. This is how I look at the last 40 years, you guys, in our market. This is all my data. This is no stats, but this is just a simple way to look at it. And the key here is to, if I had a graph, it's kind of like the climate change graph. It's kind of the same, it's kind of the same, it's kind of the same, but right here, it totally changes, okay? So in 1991, the consumer would stop in. This is basically how the consumer would buy from us over the last 40 years. And these are arbitrary numbers. The consumer would stop in at least 4 times before purchase with multiple dealers. They wanted the experience. They wanted high-touch activities. They wanted Joe Falco to sell them on that stove. And that's what they did, and that's what we wanted. In 1994, it changed a little. The consumer would call 2 times and stop in at least 3 times before purchase with multiple dealers again. 2000, kind of the same, less. 2001, internet's kind of introduced. The consumer would do a general search online, call 1 time, stop in at least 2 times before purchase with multiple dealers. But this is where it changed. In 2019 and today, and only going to get worse, the consumer will do relentless research on the product you sell and the presence you have. They will not call, but if they show up, they will be ready to buy. And I'm dead serious, you guys. It's not millennials. Please don't tell me it's a younger generation. Don't tell me that a 35-year-old or a 30-year-old comes in and that's just the way they buy. It's millennial tendencies that we have. We all have them. And we have to understand we're all shopping that way. We're all making it easier and making our determination because the customer is the hero in the journey, and social media allows them to be the hero in their decision making. Right now, you guys, you have to be on social media to keep that door swinging, and it doesn't cost any money. If you spend a little bit of money, you will get a lot better return. All right, so I get common comments. Oh, hold on. Yep. So this is the big one. This is the big one for me. This is where I think everybody needs to take pictures of the slide, write it down, whatever, because this is the key. This is why you're going to miss out. It's called the invisible sale. It's published in a lot of different places. The invisible sale, where digitally empowered buyers are self-educating and making key purchase decisions before your company even know they're in the marketplace. Before the consumer even knows they're in the marketplace, they're making those decisions, you guys. Your website's a huge part of that. Your whole overall marketing campaign is a huge part of that. I'm not saying to bail on your traditional stuff. I've heard this terminology and I really like it, and I think our industry needs to hold on to it. It's called traditional digital marketing. I can't tell my dad we won't do TV advertising. He would he would die in a pile. But we can minimize it and take those and use them somewhere else. And that's what we've done. And as long as he's seeing that steady growth, as long as it's changing just a little bit, not too much, we've done very well with it. But don't give up that. You need that broadcasting. Every September we run a More Than Fair sales event. I will run that forever. There's no way I won't run that. It cultivates a following during the fair. So if you have things like that, you have to do it. But the thing is, the social media can add to that, can help you a ton. All right, so I hear a lot that I don't need social media because I don't really have a website. My business is successful. I rely on referrals all the time. And so does my business. We rely on referrals big time. This is the thing you need to know about referrals. Referrals are verified and validated. And you know how they are? By that consumer stalking you on Facebook or social media. They want to be a part of something. They don't want to just buy. They want to know they bought and won. Show them. So, like, for example, a neighbor recommends another neighbor to go to Falco's. Do you think that they might, but do you think they really just drive in the car down to Falco's and start looking at stuff? No. They stalk you. And truly where they determine your personality is on social media. If you have no presence, that's a strike. We don't want any strikes entering into that sale. If you have a bad presence, which is hard to do, but I've seen, not good. No presence, bad presence, not good. If you have a presence, you're going to be in there. You're going to not miss out on that referral. But if you don't, you might lose out on that simple referral. And all of a sudden those referrals might be going away. There's another part of the social validation. So maybe you do get someone that just like, I'm going to go out, there's 4 dealers, I'm going to just go all these dealers. They don't have any reason to come to you, and you do a great job, and you set them up for an estimate. Well, they definitely are going back and doing research. They are definitely making sure that you are the company that they should be doing business with. If they see a lot of bad reviews, if they say no conversation, they're just not going to like you. And that's what they're going to make the decision on, you guys. And it's seriously that simple. If you're not there, that validation's gone. Everything you just did and poured your heart and soul into is kind of eliminated because people put so much more value into that than we believe. So please understand that. Okay, so my biggest fear for our industry. Maybe NSPS. So I believe if we as a retail's dying, you guys. Retail's dying. Just look around. It's going. Doesn't mean we're going, but it's going. And my fear is that that's what we're looking at in 5 years. And I'm a firm believer that social media plays a huge role. Your website, I don't want to eliminate that, any online presence, but social media plays a huge role in how consumers are going to find you and how you utilize digital marketing, which is a whole nother class. That's my biggest fear, you guys, that the doors just stop swinging. You're still the same expert you ever were, but people are just not finding you. All right, so let's get into some good stuff. Kind of the strategy. We went over the fears. We've addressed the shift, which is the important part. The consumer buying habits are changing. And now we're going to just work on a strategy. It's like this. It's not rocket science. It's simple, and I want you to keep it simple. Don't go back and be everything to all people. You'll fail. You can't be that valuable on 10 different platforms, and we'll talk about that. So the strategy. Let's just go after the first one. Decide why. Why are you doing it? Are you a chimney sweep? Are you a fireplace person? Are you a barbecue person? What do you want to get? Do you want to get more sales out of a department? Do you want to get more recognition? You really have to define what you want for it to be successful. Because you can be getting what you want, but if you didn't determine that, you might not know you're being successful. You have to decide why. So recognition, sales growth, being the ultimate trusted expert, what is it? Decide your why, okay? And then stay specific to that.
I had a hard time when I started Falco Spokane on Instagram, because who wants to follow someone who does a little bit of fireplaces, a little bit of barbecues, a little bit of this, and a little bit of that? That's not fun. We had to cultivate the family business and who we are and get people to follow who we are to then sell the things that we did. So we developed other Instagram handles and things to cultivate, like Falco Barbecue. Everybody loves barbecue. Barbecue's easy to build a following on Instagram. I'm not saying to do it, but I would suggest it. That takes me to pick what you love. Pick what you love to do. If you're the best chimney sweep, pick that and be it on social media. If you're like me, you love barbecue, but you're not that good at it, just do it. You know why? If you can take pictures and you can put it on there, all of a sudden, just because you're taking pictures that look professional, posting them, and saying what you're cooking on and what you're doing, and half the time copying other information of other people, you become the trusted resource. If you pick what you love, you'll watch all your fears go away, because it's easy for you. We just have to do what we do in the showroom every day in front of people on social media. That's all you got to do. So pick what you love. Pick the best social network. So this is a hard one, and you guys aren't going to walk out here knowing what the best social network is for you. I'm going to give you some recommendations, but I'm also going to give you a recommendation on the book that basically breaks down every social platform out there, what its value is, and how you could utilize it. And I'll give you that information so you guys can get that book. But you guys, picking the right platform that promotes your business in the right way, it's really going to come down to, I think, 3: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And we'll talk more about those, but just be intentional about it. And then now get after it and have fun. That doesn't mean just like go do it. There's a structure here, but you have to get after it. You have to attack it. You can't just like, oh, I'm going to do social media. No, do social media. Get upset about it. Getting creative is hard for a lot of us, but if we do what we love, it's not. And a lot of times what we think is simple is super creative because we live in it. We live in this fireplace world, this barbecue world that it's what we know. But man, think about it and think about what we do and presenting it to people. Talk to the people outside of the industry on what's creative to them, because you're going to find a lot of things you actually do in your advertising are already creative, or the way you think is creative. Be you. People buy from people. People buy solutions from people. Be yourself. You're the person that built that business. You're the person that is selling that appliance. And then I'm huge on being intentional. Like earlier I said, less than 2 hours a week, you can decrease your marketing budget and increase your brand awareness. And honestly, I spend 60 minutes a week in this schedule. And it's every week. And I sit down, I put 3-4 posts together, I schedule them out, and then I'm on my way. They post at different times whenever I set them to. It doesn't have to take a long time. Now, I will tell you, there's a learning curve to that, but it's definitely not a ton of time. But you have to be intentional and you have to be consistent. You start to get away from it and you start to lose leverage. You have to stay consistent. Now, that does not mean if you stay away from it for a few months, like before the HPBA, I spoke at HPBA, it was embarrassing because I was like in the season, trying to run a business. You know, I have two little kids and just going through all that stuff. And I didn't do a very good job. I did a terrible job. I'm going into speaking about it, you know what? That's as good as I could do. And I'm right back at it. I'm back after it. You just have to get back after it. Do not let it continue to fall away or you're going to lose all that ground. But it is okay if it falls off every once in a while. Don't be killing yourself. So get creative, be intentional, and keep it consistent. All right, so more of a plan when you get back, more of a specific plan. You can use it, you don't have to use it, but this is kind of how we did it. Decide who. Depends on you, the size of your company and the options available. Trust yourself. I firmly believe the leader, the manager, the business owner should be the one starting the social media page. I believe it. It doesn't matter what your age is. I believe it's because you're the one that has the passion, the clear message, and that stuff, and that you can lead to the rest of your staff through doing that. Now, if that's not an option, I get it. Pick the next best thing, which is probably someone that is in a role right below you, or maybe even someone that's been in the business that's younger, that gets it. If you get lucky there, utilize that 25-year-old person. But you're meeting with them 1 hour a week to go over this so that they take your message out there. So decide who. The second thing is start with Instagram or Facebook. So Facebook is the one that is the mothership. Okay, like you have to be on Facebook, and don't tell me that Facebook's on its way out. It is with certain generations, but we're talking 15 years, 20 years from being on the way out. We don't know how far out it is. Facebook is keen. And the targeting advertisement on Facebook is second to none. But Instagram is kind of where the next phase is, and it's simpler. And the cool part for all of us is we don't even have to leave our phones to manage either of these. We don't even have to post to both of them. You can post to Instagram, connect it to Facebook, and never have to post to Facebook, ever. You just post once, and it's set up to post to your Facebook. So very simple, you guys. Again, saving time. Instagram's on our phone. Do it when you're riding in the car. Do it when, you're not doing something else, okay? And that's how you can make it, not take up a ton of your time. So currently, best bang for your buck are Instagram and Facebook. YouTube is right there, though. YouTube is video-based instructions, and our industry could utilize YouTube like crazy. There is a gentleman up in the Northeast Canada. I can't remember his name. His company is called Embers. And this guy literally takes a GoPro. He has it on a drone, I believe, even at this time. Walks around the trade show and throws that drone up and says 60 seconds about this, 60 seconds about this. Doesn't matter what product. He is the master at videos. And guess what? Publishes them all. And who's the expert in his area? Who is the guy that is always seeked out? Him. He's went from 1 store to 3 stores in about 4 years in a market that is okay. And it's all been done on YouTube, you guys. Schedule weekly posts. Be intentional. Schedule 60 to 90 minutes a week to post. Employ bio, action shots, happy customers, product videos, sales, inspirational quotes, family stuff, whatever. Who are you? Show them. What do you want your customers' successes to be? Show them. Do you know their internal problems? Do you know what they struggle with when they come in to buy from you? They struggle with a lot of internal problems, you guys. We got to address those, talk to those, and get them in there. Engage and respond. This is probably the hardest part, truthfully. This is where it can take a lot of time. No joke. Like, I flew in last night, had a beer, blah, 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 and I spent an hour responding to stuff. And being, happy about it, and personable, and, go barbecue when it's 11 o'clock at night. Because it's public. Because those people are engaging with you. And if you don't engage back, they'll flutter away. You can hold on to people, and social media's algorithms, the more touches, the more communication, the better for you, okay? So engage and respond, even when you don't want to, because you are their trusted resource, and they're asking you or talking to you for a reason. Please let them know that you're thankful for it. All right. So it's not the size of the platform. It's not about being all over every platform. It's what's right for you, for your business, based on who you're trying to reach. So this is Gary Vaynerchuk. He is, can't remember his company name, but he took over a wine company of his parents. It was an amazing wine company, $3 million in wine a year. And within 5 years, took it to 60 million. And all he did was started the wine library on YouTube and just started talking about wine. Every kind of wine. He was the expert. He was a little bit brash. He'd cuss every once in a while, but just being him. 3 million to 60 million. Now he speaks all over the place on how business should be done. And just, if you don't like cussing, you won't like him. But I would really recommend listening to him talk about social media, listening to him talk about small business. Very intuitive, very next generation. Phenomenal guy. So he's talking about the platforms and everything. Just don't be on every platform. Just pick one. And it might not even be the perfect one, but pick one and do everything to be on that platform. The biggest mistake is people will be on 5 of them, not have enough time, and you just aren't, you're spinning your wheels, you guys. Pick a couple. I recommend Instagram, Facebook, of course. So a little bit about us. So I have a couple different accounts. I actually have a lot of different accounts, and that's something that you need to know. Your accounts don't always just have to be your name, you guys. They can be what you are involved in too. They don't even have to know that you're a part of your company. You just want to create a profile that people want to follow. So like I have a new outside sales associate. He's in new construction and he's running around and he's all outside sales now. We've never done any outside sales. And I went to him and I was like, hey, I think you should start an Instagram profile. And he came up with Pacific Northwest Fire and Flavor. And all he does is go to every project, including our competitors, and promotes them. Doesn't promote our competitor, but promotes fireplaces. Promotes being the king of the fire and king of the backyard fire. And that's all he does. And he's cultivating a following in our area. And believe it or not, he's getting architects, designers, and builders to follow him.
What's he called?
Pacific, it's PNW Fire and Flavor. And I can give you my card too. Make sure that you get that. So I started Falco Barbecue on Instagram. When I was spinning my wheels on Falco Spokane, realizing, oh my gosh, people just don't want to follow me. Like fireplaces are boring. And I just couldn't figure out how to spin it to where I was getting a following fast. I was like, okay, I'm going to change my idea here. I cook a lot, I barbecue a lot. I'm not the best at it, but it's just pictures, right? And so I started a barbecue account to grow barbecues in our area. So we're all fireplace dealers. If you sell barbecues, why do you sell barbecues? Because they off season, because they're there, they kind of work. It's not a good reason. And it's not going to work, you guys. And I remember people telling me that all the time as I was growing up. It was, you got to have the rubs, and you got to get the phone. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to do that. You do. And I want to tell everybody, barbecues aren't going to make money for you. So get over it. Just get over it. It's actually not that important. What is more important is how many door swings you can get at barbecues. Barbecues, if you pick the right brands, the brands that some of us don't like, but are the marketing giants, they will drive business to you. You got to think about barbecues as door swings. We all want door swings. We all send out invites through marketing. Barbecues are retention of customer. Spices, rubs, sauces, and fuel are my best advertisement. I always have fuel, pellets. I always have that for barbecues. I always have charcoal. I always have every rub that you can, and it's always stocked. I don't want that customer to have any doubt. So I started Falco Barbecue 3 years ago thinking I need to become the barbecue superstore. We made those changes, but we also did our Instagram handle. Started page to establish a better barbecue presence in our community. Within 12 months, we were over 1,000 followers and now have roughly 2,200. Didn't take much effort and the results were obvious. All I did, this is it, is I would take at least like 20 pictures of my 3 or 4 cooks each night. We sell Traeger, Big Green Egg, and Yeti stuff. So I would always make sure that anything we sold was in the picture, was being utilized, was featured in how I cooked it. I would use the latest terminology like reverse sear, like I knew what I was talking about. And all of a sudden people started following me. And they were asking me questions that I didn't even know the answer to. And what would I do? Google it. Even better. And I'd figure out the answer and I'd give it back. They asked me, I gave it to them. So I quickly became the trusted resource. It doesn't matter what I was, it matters what I was to them. Okay? So quickly became a trusted resource. People were asking me questions I didn't know the answer to, and I just found that crazy. And that was within days of starting that account. Gain brand influencers. I just heard something, it was by the Better Business Bureau. And brand influencer or an ambassador of your company their referral is 10 times greater than a referral verbalized. So social media, someone who is selling your company, and I'll give you some examples, online, not associated with it. Just someone that is an ambassador for your company resonates with that consumer 10 times more than any other type of advertising. So in this venture with Falco Barbecue, there's a bunch of people in Spokane, a bunch of guys my age who barbecue in the backyard, and all of us want to be the king of the backyard. That's what we all, every guy when he's cooking, it's like, I'm the king of the backyard. Well, what Instagram has allowed is for us to show that off. Like, we don't have to invite anybody over even. We just take a picture and see everybody love it. It doesn't even have to taste good. That's the amazing part. No joke. But we have, right now I probably have 7 brand ambassadors who I've brought on through Instagram. And I just give them discounts like crazy. 20%, 15%. I'll hook them up with the half cost on a grill. Always looking to take care of them. And you just watch, me get tagged on Instagram like crazy. I have people cooking with Traegers that they bought from me, saying the rubs that they use and how awesome they are, and get them from Falco's. And it's constant. And you guys, that is a huge deal. So you have brand ambassadors, brand influencers. And just to give you a reference on units sold, in 2016, we did 132 barbecues, $182,000 in barbecues. In 2018, we sold 275 barbecues and did a revenue of $381,000. And we started in halfway through 2016. Just to give you guys some updated numbers, and we'll talk about Falco Spokane here in just a minute. Falco's never really did barbecues until the last few years, but this month, the month of May, in the first 16 days, we sold 44 barbecues. And that's the biggest barbecue month Falco's has ever had, and we were only 6 days in. It was cultivated 100% on social media. No advertising on TV, no radio, no newspaper, nothing, all social media. The next one is my Falco Spokane account, Facebook. Started this a long time ago. Didn't know at the time why I was starting it, just knew it was important. I knew it's where everybody was. So started page in 2009, not really knowing why, but understanding it would be important in the future with its popularity and growth track. With our over 4,300 viewers or followers, we now utilize it for targeting ads in our area, and the results are obvious. Example is 2015 Barbecue Fest. So with Barbecue Fest, this was our 10th year just this last Saturday, and for the first 6-7 years, we would spend a good amount of money. Okay, it was $4,000 in TV, $2,000 in radio, $1,000 in newspaper. In 2015, we decided to shift that. We just wanted to run a test, and it was kind of risky. We didn't know. We were a little bit nervous, but we just took $1,000 and we made 3 separate campaigns on Facebook. Well, it was just crazy. In 2014, we had 1,100 in attendance, and in 2015, we had over 2,600 people show up, and we spent 80% less. And it's only grown. We had Barbecue Fest this last weekend, and I would venture to guess we had over 3,000 people. We track it through donations. We do a $1 donation to get in, and it goes to Operation Hero. That's the way we can track the people coming in, and it's pretty amazing to get 3,000 to a little retail store, all for $1,000. Selling over $50,000 in grills, spending only $1,000. Now, I didn't make a lot of money on those grills, guys, I'm gonna be honest. Pretty discounted, pretty good. But what do all those people, what were those people's experience? It was amazing. They got a great deal at Falco's, and what else does Falco's have? Everything else they see. And we're having a fun conversation about the barbecue they bought. They might talk about fireplace or the services you offer. So pretty amazing stats. Our last Falco Barbecue Fest was the best ever, and we still haven't spent more than $1,000 on Facebook. Know what we put an ad on our on hold is the only other thing we've done recently. So a few testimonials for you guys there. So I'm wrapping things up. I just want you guys to know the tools that I utilize through this, and 2 of them are just completely obvious. We've talked about it a few times. Google is the best tool to find information. I'm on Google every day, trying to learn, trying to figure out. When I'm asked a question, I'm really finding out through Google half the time. YouTube is the other one. YouTube is the instruction king. Any instruction. So I would recommend teach people how to service their fireplace, you guys. They're not going to be able to, but the fact that you tried to show them makes you that trusted guide. And when they can't, or they can, but their friend can't, they're going to call you. So get that out there. Bus Momo is a website that creates content for you and does an amazing job of getting the information out there that you need, or if you don't have relevant information to post, type in fireplaces in that platform, and it will give you every relevant article to fireplaces released in the last day. They'll give you all the information that you want to post about, so you don't have to develop the content always, okay? And then Canva. Canva.com is like, every single person should go there and download it right now. Put it on your phones, put it on your computers. It can make you creative. It can make you a designer. This presentation was put on Canva. This was my first presentation ever. It made it simple. You can do social media posts. It has all the sizing already figured out. It has so many different options. So I just cannot recommend Canva enough. Okay, and then the last thing is, I've talked about this a few times, The Skeptical Lumberman by Bradley Hartman. This gentleman comes from the lumber industry, incredibly bright gentleman. His dad owned the company and said, hey, the board is saying we need to do social media. What do I tell them? Do I tell them yes? Do I tell them no? And basically, Bradley, being the person he is, put this book together, not this book, but something together for his dad to understand social media. And then he developed this book because he saw the need for it. And you guys, I'm telling you, it is easy read, phenomenal. You can go back and continue to read it and update yourself. So I'll give out my cards at the end of this if you guys need any more information on this. You can find it on Amazon really easily. And that concludes it, you guys. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you got something out of it.